You've seen the mouth-watering photos online, charred crust, bubbling cheese, that golden leopard spotting only a real pizza oven can deliver. But then you try making it yourself, and suddenly it's not so romantic. The dough sticks, the crust burns before the center cooks, and you're constantly guessing if the stone is hot enough. And let's not even talk about how smoky some of these so-called wood-fired ovens get. So if you're here, chances are you're tired of trial and error. You want something that actually works, that's flexible, and that won't leave you regretting an $800 decision after just one weekend. That's why today we're going to take a deep, honest look at the Ooni Karu 2 Pro Multi-Fuel Pizza Oven. This is one of the most talked about ovens of the year, and not just because of its sleek design or high heat. What makes this model stand out is that it's designed for people who want real control, over fuel, over temperature, and over results. You can cook with wood or charcoal straight out of the box for that rich, smoky flavor. But you also have the option to add a gas burner later if you prefer convenience or lower maintenance sessions. It heats up to 950 degrees Fahrenheit in 15 minutes, and it claims to cook a full 16-inch pizza in under 90 seconds. But is it really that fast and consistent? And what if you're not experienced with wood-fired cooking? Will it be frustrating to use? Those are the kinds of questions we're going to tackle in this video. I'm not just going to tell you what the specs say. I'm going to break down how it actually fits into real outdoor cooking routines, what you need to make it work properly, and what you might wish you'd known before buying. Because here's something most people don't realize until after unboxing. There are a few key accessories that are not included, and depending on your cooking style, that can affect your entire experience. I'll explain exactly what those are and how they impact your first few uses later on, so definitely stick around. Also, if you're wondering about performance beyond pizza, like for roasting meats or baking bread, we'll get into that too. This oven claims to do it all, but there are some heat control quirks you should know about before you try a sourdough loaf or a rack of ribs in here. If at any point you want to check what's included in the box or see if there's a deal going on, I've added a link down in the description and in the pinned comment. Feel free to use it as a reference while we go through this. And hey, if you find this video helpful in clarifying your doubts or helping you make a smarter decision, go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you're into deep dive kitchen gear reviews, and drop a comment with your biggest frustration when it comes to cooking with fire. I'd love to hear what challenges you've faced. Now, let's talk about how this oven is actually built, and more importantly, how that build affects your everyday cooking experience. The Ooni Karu 2 Pro definitely looks impressive, with its matte black powder-coated carbon steel body and that sleek view-flame glass door. It has the kind of design that makes you feel like you're stepping into serious culinary territory. But under the surface, there are a few things you'll want to be aware of before you buy. First, the insulated shell is genuinely useful. It helps maintain high internal temperatures even on colder days, which is a big deal if you're cooking outdoors year-round. And the drop-down glass door, it's not just for looks. It lets you monitor your cook without opening the oven and losing heat. That's a win. But here's the catch. Like most glass and wood-fired ovens, it can still soot up, especially if you're using lower quality wood or loading too much fuel at once. So even though it's designed to stay cleaner, you'll still find yourself needing to wipe it down now and then, especially during longer cooks. The oven itself is pretty heavy. At around 60 pounds, this isn't something you'll casually move around your patio. And yes, it's technically portable, but only if you're okay with disassembling the stone and chimney every time. If you plan to take it to a friend's house or move it seasonally, that's something to factor in. Now about the size. It offers a generous 17-inch cooking surface, which gives you space for full 16-inch pizzas and more. That's great if you're feeding a crowd, but this space comes with trade-offs. It means a longer preheat time, and it also demands more fuel to keep consistent high temps, especially when using wood or charcoal. It's not necessarily a flaw, but if you're looking for something fuel efficient or quick to fire up for a couple of slices, this might feel like overkill. Finally, the chimney and airflow controls are well positioned and responsive, but they do require some learning. If you're new to managing live fire, expect a bit of a learning curve, especially balancing oxygen flow with different fuels. The oven does its part, but it's not fully set and forget. You'll need to engage with it to get the best results. So, overall, yes, the Karu 2 Pro is built like a serious piece of equipment, but it also demands a serious user. It's not a casual backyard toy, and if you're expecting plug-and-play ease, especially with wood or charcoal, you may want to rethink your setup or consider adding the gas burner attachment early on. Now, let's talk about what really matters: how this oven performs when you're actually using it. And the short answer is, it can deliver incredible results, but only if you understand what it needs from you. The Karu 2 Pro gives you 3 fuel options: wood, charcoal, and propane gas. That flexibility is one of its biggest selling points. But the reality is, each fuel behaves very differently, and your experience will change depending on which one you use. Wood-fired cooking gives you that unbeatable smoky flavor and a roaring live flame that's perfect for Neapolitan-style pizzas. But it's also the most demanding. You'll need dry, quality hardwood and some practice managing the burn. Add too much fuel and you'll create smoke that dirties the glass or overpowers the flavor. Add too little, and the stone won't stay hot enough for that crispy base. So if this is your first time working with fire, be prepared to learn through trial and error. Charcoal is a bit more forgiving. It burns longer and more steadily, making it easier to maintain a consistent cook. This is great for breads, vegetables, or meats that need a lower, slower bake. And with the Karu's solid airflow design, you can actually dial things in better than with most outdoor ovens. The chimney and rear damper let you control oxygen flow with surprising accuracy, once you get used to how they respond. Now, if what you're really after is simplicity and control, the gas burner attachment changes the game. With propane, the oven still reaches 950 degrees Fahrenheit in about 15 minutes, but you skip all the fire maintenance. Just turn the knob, set your flame, and cook. For busy weeknights or quick sessions, this can be a huge plus. But remember, the gas burner is sold separately, and that adds another layer to the total cost. Performance-wise, once you hit your target temp, the Karu 2 Pro shines. Pizzas cook in about 60 to 90 seconds with beautiful, even blistering, assuming you're turning them with a peel and keeping an eye on hot spots. That turning peel, by the way, is absolutely essential. It's not included, but you'll struggle without it. Using the oven without one is like trying to grill without tongs. What impressed many users is how well the oven holds its heat between pizzas. If you're hosting a crowd, you're not constantly waiting for the stone to reheat. That's a big advantage over cheaper models, which often struggle with back-to-back cooking. Still, there is a learning curve here. The Karu 2 Pro performs at a high level, but it expects the same from you. You'll need to practice your dough launch, learn when to rotate, and get a feel for the timing at different temps. This is not a set-it-and-forget-it machine. It's a hands-on tool for people who want to cook, not just reheat. Now, when you finally hit that perfect pizza, crispy bottom, airy crust, bubbling cheese, the last thing you want is to feel like the process was more stressful than satisfying. And that's where the day-to-day usability of the Ooni Karu 2 Pro really starts to matter. Yes, it performs. But how smooth is the experience from setup to cleanup? Let's start with one of the most helpful features, the digital thermometer hub. Instead of guessing when the stone is ready, you get a clear temperature readout right on the front of the oven, or on your phone via Bluetooth. That kind of feedback changes everything, especially for new users. You're no longer wondering if it's hot enough or relying on guesswork. It gives you confidence, and that's half the battle with outdoor cooking. But here's where we need to pause, because there's a detail many people only realize after unboxing. Some crucial accessories are not included, and depending on how you plan to cook, that can really shape your first experience. For starters, you don't get a pizza peel. That's a non-negotiable tool, and trying to launch a pizza without one is nearly impossible. Even more importantly, there's no turning peel, which you'll absolutely need if you want even charring on all sides. And if you're buying this oven with gas cooking in mind, the propane burner isn't included either. You'll need to buy that separately. None of this is a trick, but it can catch people off guard. If you don't plan ahead, you might find yourself with a 500-degree oven and no way to cook your pizza properly. So before you fire it up, make sure you have what you need. As for cleanup, it's actually pretty low maintenance. The cordierite stone holds up well and doesn't need much more than scraping. The glass door, though, will need occasional cleaning, especially if you're using wood or charcoal. It doesn't stay perfectly clear, and that's normal, but it's something to be aware of. So, usability here is strong, but only if you come prepared. Once you understand what's needed and get into a rhythm, the Karu 2 Pro becomes less of a tool and more of a partner in your cooking. If you've made it this far, you already know. The Ooni Karu 2 Pro is not a gimmick. It's a serious oven for people who want more than just pizza night. It gives you the tools to cook like a pro outdoors, with the flexibility to use wood, charcoal, or gas. The temperature control, the large cooking surface, and the solid build quality make it feel like you're working with a real piece of culinary equipment, not just another backyard gadget. But here's the truth. It's not for everyone. If you're looking for something simple, light, and plug and play, this oven will feel like too much. It requires a bit of setup, some added accessories, and a willingness to learn how fire behaves. You don't just push a button and walk away, you engage with it. You learn from it, and if that sounds exciting to you, this might just become your favorite part of the weekend. On the other hand, if you already enjoy cooking outdoors, or if you've been frustrated with smaller ovens that can't hold consistent heat, the Karu 2 Pro could be the upgrade you've been waiting for. It's not just an oven, it's an experience, one that rewards attention, practice, and creativity. If you want to see more about what's included or compare the price with other models, I've linked the product in the description and pinned comment. Feel free to check it out as a reference. And if this video helped you understand the real strengths and trade-offs of the Karu 2 Pro, hit that like button, consider subscribing for more honest kitchen reviews, and tell me in the comments, what's your biggest challenge when cooking outdoors? I'd love to hear what you're working on next. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.